Mm-mm. How's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. Hit the like button as soon as you come in. We get started in a couple minutes here, so that way we can be able to kind of get this thing under control. So, all right, all right. Let's move forward. Um, Over the past couple of days, I've been in Boise, Idaho. Right now, I'm in Ontario, Oregon, over the Ohio. I'm sorry, not Ohio, but Oregon, Idaho border. And the same thing that I saw in Boise, Idaho, was the same thing I saw in the Mississippi Delta. It's the same thing I'm seeing here in Ontario, Oregon. The same. There's a lot of people being replaced out here, man, by people who simply know what they're doing, by people who are simply operating within the parameters of society, and people who simply have left most of this stuff alone. Because right now, you can't depend on the lost children to bring forth this type of failed group of people forward because they consume other failed people within the environment itself. It isn't that they produce anything, they consume more than they produce. That's always been the case. But they need an actual bottom level of non socialized individuals in order to feed upon. That's how this works. Because I've been driving through this area now for at least 10 or 15 years at this point. And you see the same thing in all of these smaller communities. You see people now who don't even associate with the failed individuals of the past. They don't even associate with those things anymore. You see a whole bunch of counterparts out here trying to find their way off the actual field by hoping that people have more than enough sympathy for their circumstances without being educated by the track record of such circumstances. You see this everywhere. I seen it when I went home for homecoming. All the women who look good back in the day, who still look good now, nobody's falling for the actual trap. Here in this city, when I was in Boise, same thing. You go over to those communities, nobody really getting involved with anything. Uh, and you look around and that the younger people know not to mess around with the older individuals. They didn't need a red pill. They didn't need a manosphere for that. What's going on, Egon? What's going on, Little Rock? What's going on, JR? What's going on, Chris G? Make sure you hit the like button so when you come in. And what I'm starting to see is that these people have a growing level of hatred toward older individuals. Not just older individuals just to be older individuals, but older individuals who do not have their stuff together, especially their stuff together when it comes to counseling the youth. What's going on, number 16? So it's like most of the younger generation get not to trust these older dudes out here. But then again, there's a group of people who want to speak for the group as if they're trying to lead the group somewhere. And that's where I want to focus the actual information right now. The focus of the information that needs to be focused, it is not on the people because now you see it. It's not boomers. You can stop blaming boomers at this point. You can stop blaming boomers. You have people who are older, younger Generation X, and millennials who are acting the same way that they thought the boomers were acting. It wasn't the boomers. If you made pros- actual progress within your life, you will learn to stop blaming boomers because you're not fighting a generation. You're fighting a specific mind state at this point. And the mind state, because there's so many individuals at this point who represent the same level of arrested development, which is a choice, by the way. There was no government that was involved in you not being able to participate in society. So now you see it across the board. There's really no excuses now at this point. Your associations and the people that you defend means everything at this point. You defend the level of point to where you want to be in society going forward. You are always going to watch a lot of people fail as long as you're moving forward, as long as you're moving to a higher position, as long as you're participating in society. You're going to see a lot of people run into things that you can tell them 6 ways to Sunday about what's going to happen. They're going to run into it anyway because they're socialized into fully expecting that someone else is going to pick up after them. This is why we're nearly a year in the future. No one has picked up a book to learn about American history so that way they can be properly informed about the society that they live in. Most people are tuning into people who are anti-black trolls, still doing it. And I'm blocking everybody who I see over there in that chat. You're no longer welcome here. You have to understand that you decided who the actual mainstream was going to be. You yourself, you decided. You decided who the voice was going to be. And now we have people who thought that they were the voice of the people who are going forward. Now you're no longer going to be associated with other people that you thought you was hyping up within the space. That guy is not going to let none of you guys around who is actually supporting a certain person. This is why this guy had to leave y'all behind in the first place. Because you're too damn dumb. You're too stupid. You don't understand when enough is enough. You don't understand layups, lay-ins. You don't understand that you ain't supposed to be out there on the ready defending anything that happened. You guys have got to understand that the fringe was never supposed to have a voice. That's why your ass was called the fringe in the first place. I'm saying straight up, these people don't speak for me. They don't. They never could in the first place. In fact, the moment you have your stuff together and the moment that you don't give it away to somebody who can be able to sabotage your actual outcome, those people get extremely mad at that. The moment that you have a verifiable career field, the moment you have, sorry about that. The moment you have your stuff together where nobody's opinion matters, the moment you start participating in society in a way that you're supposed to, You understand how the fringe don't match up, how the fringe don't matter, how fringe conversations don't matter when it comes to the mainstream. You truly can't put any of these individuals in a room with legitimate opportunity and expect them to represent the group well. But they want to be the voice of the group itself. This is why I keep telling you guys about the track record, about the associations, about everything else. I keep telling you about that. I keep telling you about that for a reason. The reason why I tell you about those things is because I know how it looks and feels when somebody starts digging into the past and start seeing your past associations and you think you got that once in a lifetime opportunity and somebody walk up to you and you be like, you know what? Your previous associations are not going to be something that we're going to be able to add to our group. Regardless of what type of skills you have, we will look for other people. Fortunately for me, it happened very early, and I was able to make the requisite changes so that way I can have an outcome that was really worthy of being part of most groups. This is how this stuff works. But see, fringes in society don't represent the group. The fringe represent the fringe. The fringe is not going to put on more legitimate people than they are. That's how they got to be the fringe in the first place. You see, most of the fringe think that they've lost their position in society or lost their actual chances to get things done in a requisite manner in accordance to everybody else. But the only thing the fringe have done is that they've really held their hands out for other things that were not part of the mainstream in the first place. That's how that works. What's going on here? So I just have to say clearly that the black manosphere does not represent me as a black man. It does not represent me. Currently, at this point, it does not represent me. The black manosphere in its current form is a voice for the fringe. And fringes destroy groups as soon as they get power. As soon as the fringe get power, they destroy the entire group. That's how that works. So you have to realize that groups are always tested. Certain things happen within a group, and a group is always tested, no matter who you are, no matter whether you're an elite force in the military, according to the missions that you're a part of. Doesn't matter whether you're a regular installation, whether it's an inspector general inspection. Doesn't matter whether you are any type of fighting force at all versus the actual enemies that you come up against. Your group is always continually going to be tested. When your group is tested, there's an obvious answer to questions when your group is tested. When your group is actually tested appropriately the way it's supposed to be tested, you got to have a singular response that represents that you are part of the mainstream. A bunch of self interested people cannot be considered mainstream. Likes, hearts, shares, views, all that stuff can be bought. But what can't be bought is a reputation. What can't be bought is actual associations. No matter how good or bad you are at anything, if people who got stuff to lose, they're going to look at your past. They're going to look at who you're associated with. They're going to look at the things you defended in the past. They're going to look at all that. And how you think you can escape criticism because you're part of a group of cowards who actually operate on silence, that doesn't work when you go into the real world. The real world, people are not going to want to associate their power with other individuals who cannot keep the actual system good for themselves. I keep telling you that you got to have your stuff straight. I keep telling you that the moment that you get a degree, the moment that you get a certification, the moment that you get a job making over 20 to $25 an hour, no matter where you are in the country, dude, you're part of a different group. That group is going to require something out of you. That group is going to hold your ass to some expectations. That's how you know the difference between an anybody job or career or somebody job and career. That's how you know the difference. Who can you protect and who can protect you? So I'm just saying, man, that the Friends of America don't represent me. I'm not looking forward to I'm not looking forward to street OGs and dudes who claim they got game. I'm not looking forward to them winning in society. They should be losing in society. The only thing they can do is actually mislead another group of people because now you can't really mislead the kids with this game nonsense. But you can keep this stuff really afloat and alive among the millennials, Xers, and actual boomers who are actually wasting their lives on this stuff. This is just something that you can actually do with younger people right now. But this is what we are. All because you didn't want to participate in society. All because you wanted everybody to do the heavy lifting for you. All because you wanted to hold yourself back so that way you can qualify for somebody who didn't really give a damn about you in the first place. All because of that. At this point, you're not supposed to have sympathy for new child support dudes. You're not supposed to have sympathy for individuals who put themselves in situations that they know they're not supposed to be in. You're not supposed to have sympathy for those type of people anymore. Paul Leslie follow super chat. That's where we're at right now. There's a lot of people who want sympathy for situations that they know that they were never supposed to be a part of in the first place. Even though they knew full well what the answer was in the first place. They knew what the answer to the questions were, but they went out there anyway. Why? Because they thought there was going to be a fringe of individuals who were still going to protect them in their failure. You see, that's what standards are about. Standards are about making sure that the people who are just like you exist alongside of you. This is why I said the Foxtrot Novembers, they always have an extremely strong defense network for each other. No one comes out to defend anybody that they don't at least agree with. No one does that. But a lot of people think that this fringe is going to save them. The fringe is going to protect them. But the fringe always destroy the group. The fringe has destroyed every single group that they claim that they want to represent. It's like evangelical Christians destroy what it meant to be a decent Christian. Fundamentalist Muslims destroyed what it meant to be a Muslim. There are other groups, but you have to recognize that if you don't speak loudly and take a stand publicly, you're going to be aligned with those people who you're silently defend. Because at this point, silence is consent. There is no middle ground here. There ain't no middle ground here. There's no middle ground here. I keep telling you that you can't stand in the middle. There's no middle ground here. There's a side that you want to be on, and there's a side that you can't defend. That's what it is with everything in society. You start to get it whenever you start serving on a jury, when you go back into those jury quarters, and you hear somebody who just heard all the evidence that was being laid out in front of the entire group, and it's very obvious about guilt. And the person comes out of their mouth with this what if nonsense until you personalize it. Because, see, everybody wants their protection of the group until you personalize it. The moment you start offering up your loved ones, your friends, your family in a place that you would easily excise somebody else, that's when it becomes realistic. Yeah, they get it when it's personal, but when it's somebody else, somehow the brain works differently. But this is clearly where we are right now. Everybody wants to be famous so bad that they're willing to defend anything. They're willing to say anything. And it's the same people who talk about bringing the women back to the actual table for a negotiation session. What women? Never said what women. They make this assumption as if they exist without even providing proof. You have to understand that the productive man who wants to leave most of these problems alone was never part of the Black Manosphere conversation. I was one of many people to try to bring this conversation to a head versus the actual individuals here who wanted to make sure those people never had a voice. When I went home for my nephew's graduation, I seen people there who looked exactly how they looked in high school. Same child support uniform and everything. Still getting, bitched out by the probably 250 to 300 pound baby mama in the parking lot. Yeah, this is what they sold their soul for. These were the same individuals who thought they had it all because they had access back in the day, going through the same thing that they're going through right now. You see, that's what happens when a friend wants to run the entire group. The friends always destroy the group. They destroy what the group meant. They destroy the group based what it's on. Think about the black church. Same thing. Or even other type of churches. Same thing. Because they cared about numbers more than the actual mission. And that's what happened. They care more about the numbers than the actual mission to the point to where the stuff became clownish. It became self evident that these people didn't care about the actual mission itself, but freely and intentionally wanted to attach themselves to a movement that they knew they could corrupt and destroy from the inside out. That's what they wanted. Like everything else, they couldn't go out and build their own group from the ground up. They always come in and sabotage and destroy something that's already built that already has them in. And they always want to hide behind numbers or sales or attention as the reason why they should never be held responsible to what they're doing inside the environment. But this is where we are. Have something that you want to lose, and look how easily you would lose it by being around French people. They tell you up front about how they want to behave within the environment itself. They tell you up front about how they're willing to do anything to make it in society. They really don't care about people who are harmed or hurt because they don't care about that. They tell you up front with their actions, and you see this stuff go down when it goes to other people, and you know damn well you wouldn't want to be a victim. But see, you think you're protected by said things. This is where we are, folks. This is why I'm always unwilling to listen to people talk about community. If you ask them what they did to actually protect the women or actually put any type of safeguard in place or held any type of standard in society, they couldn't tell you. Why? Those are the type of people that rose to be the cream of the crop when there are no standards. The manosphere gave birth to femininity consultants who sold and BS the same people who didn't even know what femininity was to actually look at abject reptiles as the actual verification of said femininity. This is why these people can't represent me. I'm a separate group from these group of people. I don't want to hear anybody telling me about this group of black men. I don't want to hear that shit no more. Because if this is what the group of black men are doing, and we, all of us, are sitting around making the same damn mistake with all this silence that was actually done to our group beforehand, it's very clear. I don't want to hear this shit about a group of black men anymore. I want to hear about a group of men, period, who's actually concentrated on actual productivity. Because the moment you try to colorize the shit, you telling me that I got to pick up the slack for personnel and people who never exhibited standard in the first place. Because the actual analytics are not lying. It's very clear what people want to see. It's very clear. The people who claim they got the most game are actually jumping on the panel to talk to random women as if they never talked to them before, as if they never had any level of attention for women before. That's what's going on here. But see, you have to recognize that there's a reason why this stuff isn't everywhere. It's not everywhere because it's fringe. This is the fringe. Yes, the fringe finally got a voice, and you know what they wanted to do? Get rid of the reasonable people. That's what the fringe always wants to do. They always want to get rid of the actual checks and balances. That's the first thing they want to do. That's where we at. This is what I'm saying, dude. Dude, there's no group here. There's a group of self-interested individuals. That is not a group. And as soon as a person crosses the line, that person is not going to be part of that group after that. They're not going to be part of that. You had a dude claim that he had COVID-19, that he was on a respirator, that he took hydroxychloroquine, and 3 days later he was out the hospital. You had that go on within this space. Now these people have locked down on this fringe to the point to where they have to ride it all the way to the end. They have to ride the fringe all the way to the end. They're like that car that you see on high speed police chases who then ran over the spike strips. That's what the manosphere is right now. With that car going down the highway at 60 plus mile an hour on pure rims, sparking up everywhere, at no control. That's what it is. But see, at the end of the day, this was all they were capable of doing. This is not a conversation you can have within your community without getting clowned to death. This is not a conversation that you can have in public. This is a fringe. Fringe don't survive. The fringe depend on broken, stagnant people to survive. But this is currently where we are right now. People are acting like they didn't see and they didn't hear what they actually heard, and that they pretend that there was some type of experiment being a part of this. Let's say that it was an experiment. The defense board is not an experiment. Those people were dead serious and for real about defending what they defended. They know full well what happened, and they know full well what they were defending. He did lie. I'm willing to put $250,000 on the fact that he did lie. But at the but at the end of the day, This is where we are, folks. This whole thing is about something that cannot be defended in public. I do not want to go on CNN, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News, or anywhere else defending this type of stuff, man. I don't want to defend this. Yeah. 2 hours later, he was trying to sell his fucking bullshit to people. 2 hours later, after he made the announcements. That's not what people who went to the hospital for COVID-19 do. They don't turn around and try to sell you on the bullshit that they've been selling. That ain't what they do. 2 hours later, every single time there's an update, we're talking about that shit. Nah, man. That was every day from the 99 cent super chat. But this is where we are. If they call that dude into an interview and they asked him questions about that shit, and he brought up the fact that he took hydroxychloroquine and he was off a respirator in 3 fucking days, they would clown the shit out of that dude on national TV. But see, this is the type of things that you have to keep your mouth closed about as long as you're part of this group. But that's the type of group that we have online. These are the type of people who think that, okay, I'm just going to sit here in the corner. I'm going to spin my webs of bullshit. And if you point it out, then you the hater. Not the fact that they out there doing this shit, right? The hater isn't the person who would do this shit in the first place for their own survival. The hater is the actual person who would bring up the fact that this is fucking bullshit. And I know it's bullshit. But see, they can only do this thing around people who don't know what's going on. This is how this stuff propagates. Man, look, I was gonna bring a psychological professional on, but this dude wanted to call the police on people. This dude was so incensed about what he's seen online. He actually turned into another version of me, but he had all the legal ramifications to do so. Once he seen that there was attorneys in on this shit, once he seen that there was PhDs in on this shit, that dude could not understand how people could associate themselves with such a thing and what they were able to do for attention. He could not. He had to take a break. What's going on, Doctor Ennis? But that's where we are. You think you're gonna get a Robert F. Smith out of these type of people? No, they're already telling you what to stay away from. The product that they really trying to either team up with, they're waiting for to actually give up their power, or the person that they claim that they can't live without or move on without. This is what happens when you don't have a strong sense of self. You start believing in these other people, man. That's what we are. These people don't represent me. I represent the mission. The mission is still to leave this stuff alone, to get your stuff together, and to move on without these problematic things in the future. That's the mission. My mission is still educational because it's supposed to be educational for the youth. We can't say these millennials, Xers, and the boomers who are hanging around broken kids because that's the only way they can get their stuff off is to be hanging around a broken group of people. It's okay to leave them behind, man. It's okay because as soon as you elevate in life even a little bit, dude, you're not gonna be able to fit this stuff into your life moving forward. You're not gonna be able to do it. You are not going to be able to do it and to leave it behind. After I left Mississippi, dude, listen, man. I went over to Germany and Italy. Dude, you had dudes gang banging in the dorms. Crazy. They left these communities that was in a way better situation, and the only thing they was doing was the same stuff that they claimed that they didn't want to be a part of. Insane. This is why I say our group is not big enough, and the manosphere is not big enough to encompass these type of fraudulent ass individuals and men who want progress. The manosphere is not big enough for that. The manosphere has never been big enough for that. There's no way you can use these people's name around your town to get a job at anything. This is why you moving forward is the only sum total that you need. The only thing you can do right now, not living up to your true potential, is what give these people room to grow. That's what give you all the actual representation in the world for them. They thrive off a broken environment. They can't live in a civilized society. They can only grow within the crevices of the fringe. And they want to make the fringe look a hell of a lot bigger than what the fringe actually is. So you got a choice to make. You're gonna keep pretending like there ain't a problem with these people who you trying to quote unquote save with your future productivity, or you're gonna have to move on to a different group of people. Because right now, there's only two arguments on the table. There are stayers and there are goers. The people who want to stay are making all the excuses in the world for the people who need to go. And for the people who want to go, they're already gone. McGone already told you when he came back from his trip, them dudes are not even messing around with the black space of YouTube. Period. They already know that this stuff is over. This space is a place for millennials, Xers, and boomers to talk about their failures. It is not about anybody talking about any level of success, any level of current technology, any level of making moves, any levels of doing anything. This is not the place for that. This is a place for lionizing idiots and damn fools and the fringe of society. Because the fringe already had their chance. The fringe already had their chance. Now, the only thing the fringe can do at this point is stop the progress of everybody else so that way they can keep their spot. This is like the dude who thinks he's a class clown when he's not even funny. The only thing this person is doing is stopping the progress of everybody else who's in school to learn. And the entire group has to sit there and watch this individual do this because the teacher had don't have the sense enough to just throw this dude out the classroom so the class can go on. They make it look like dealing with this damn fool who's interrupting the class of progress is something that or a lesson that everybody else has to learn from. But that's where we at. This stuff can't be defended. You ask these people about anything about modern technology or about where does this stuff end or where does it lead to, they couldn't even tell you. But this is where we are, folks. This is where we are. Do you think these people represent you? Do you think these people represent the future of black men or any man, regardless of color? Do you think so? Do you really think this is the best we can do? Now we keep talking about this two-parent household nonsense within the space. Name me a person who grew up in a strong two-parent household who would look to these damn fools that you will find on the space for the most part for leadership. And what type of leadership would they take you to? They think that quietly poisoning the ocean is less of a burden than pointing out the fact that these people are doing it in the first place. But that's where we are. I'm just saying. I don't want these people speaking for me, man. You speak for that friends group that you're a part of. You don't speak for me. You do not speak for me. And you have to be able to say, hey, man, look, these dudes don't speak for me, man. Anti-black trolls and having your dumb ass over there. Oh, this shit's hilarious, man. Get the fuck out of here. You know what the fuck you showed up for? Because you believe this shit on some level. You believe this shit on some level. The only thing you gotta do is get your shit together and leave these people alone. That's all you gotta do. It's really not that hard. However, you want the ability to simply sit here and actually think that what happened if I never change? That's not a question you should ever be asking yourself. That should never be a question that you should be teaching yourself. That should never be a question that you should be even be trying to experience. But this is where we are, folks. This is where we are. Or that is where they are, and they need your inexperience to actually help them cement their place. The only thing you gotta do is ask them, hey man, so how long you gonna keep this up before you make any type of progress? And then you'll listen to them say, oh man, well there is no expectation of progress. Yes, that is what people have said. There's no expectation of progress. That's where we currently are, man. We got 58 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button before I go forward. But that's currently where we at. And dude, listen, there ain't nothing wrong with starting off at the perceived bottom. I had to start off at the bottom. Actually, things was a hell of a lot worse than what it was until I left, but it was still the bottom. There had to be a time where I didn't have the skills and ability to move forward. There had to be a time where I had to notice it. There had to be a time where I had to be honest with myself about it. And then I had to be honest about the moves that I had to make in the future. You have to understand that there is no rationale in having conversations about what we should be doing about this female. This whole waiting on a bitch bullshit is bullshit. It is blue pill as fuck. Red pill supposed fucking dudes talking about waiting on a bitch. Waiting on a bitch to give up power, waiting on the bitch to fucking treat them like a man, waiting on the bitch to come and submit to them without them having a better fucking deal than infinite fucking choice. Just waiting on the bitch, waiting on the bitch, waiting on the bitch. That's what you got in this space. A whole bunch of dudes waiting on the bitch, holding back their own productive selves while they're waiting on an individual who brings nothing to the table to surrender for what means. This is where we at. That's where we at. The dudes who seem to be more masculine than everybody else came to the internet to complain about the very women that they claimed that they ran. That's what the place turned into. They talking about her with her not even being at the table. That's what we turned into. But there was things that happened in recent that showed you exactly where these dudes were. They showed you exactly who they were, exactly what they would defend. Should have been a damn layup. But most of these people want to make it look like that they are willing to take every sexual opportunity that is forward to them. That it does not matter what the circumstances are. They're gonna take it anyway, and they're gonna defend it anyway. That's what we are, folks. That's what we are. Dude, you can't go mainstream with this. Because going mainstream has an actual level of protecting power. You got to protect that power when you go mainstream. And you can't start off by protecting bullshit. You can't start off by doing that. You can't start off out the gate, protecting bullshit and shit that's indefensible. You can't do that as a group. Yeah, but that's where we at. But the whole point is to run off the decent individuals so that way the actual turd blossoms can rise up out of the mushrooms and they become the voice of the space. That's what happens. That's why you got people who've been here 9, 10, 11 years, but they haven't made no damn progress when it comes to choosing a side or organizing or not keeping up meaningless fucking conversations or none of that shit. That's why they've been here for such a long time. That's why they can't defend the track record. That's why they have to go in front of certain audiences and they can't really be asked certain questions about the future because there is no future, according to them. You will eventually run off all decent human beings from a space that ain't going nowhere, man. But that's where we at. That is where we are. So now for the live streams that I don't leave up, I just make it members only live streams because a lot of this stuff I just don't want to be associated with or even be talking about from here going forward because I'm trying to help men win. I'm not trying to help black men win, not trying to help white men win. I'm trying to help participators in society win because more participators in society is exactly what we need right now. We've already proven that if you give these people a voice to speak, they're just lionized damn fools in the fringe. So we're just gonna have to take it back even further by just not even trying to team with people who ain't trying to go nowhere. So that's where I'm at with it. I want to thank you guys for coming through. I'm the man tomorrow. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and you guys have a real nice night. Peace.